Yo, what is up, guys? It's Pedro here. So today we got another Washington Commanders weekly stream. And today's stream, we're going to do a little bit of a mini preview for the Commanders Week 1 game versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. If I have time, I likely will have another stream later this week with a full deep dive, preview into the game, going over injury updates and much, much more. But this one's going to be a little bit more casual, and I'll answer a lot of fan questions in the chat. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content. Trying to hit 9,000 subscribers. So hopefully we can do that soon. So while we're waiting for some people to get in here, because I started a little bit earlier than usual, or than I was supposed to, let's talk about some of the moves that happened this week. What's up, YouTube Gabriel? What's up, King Sean? So, I mean, we know all the roster moves that happened, but like the John Bostic stuff, David Mayo, that happened pretty recently. And I don't know. I definitely don't really agree with what they did with both of those players. I think David Mayo should have been released and just still been released. And then they signed John Bostic on top of that. But Blake Martinez has, he's available now. Blake Martinez is available, played for Carolina or played for Ron Rivera in Carolina before, now is playing for the Giants. Let's see. Let's say hi to some people in the chat. What's up, Billy? Appreciate you coming through. Yeah, I know everyone's busy, but appreciate you coming through. What's up, Reggie Red, Sean White, Mickey? I think it's Mickey or Mikey. I think it's Mickey though. What's up, Travi? What's up, Fred? What's up, Jimmy? Yeah, we'll talk about Sam Howell in a little bit. So Blake Martinez, though, I think would really, really help out this linebacker room for sure. Because like he is a solid starter, and he left or he got released by the Giants because it was kind of mutual. He wanted to leave. He didn't really fit into their new defense, so it kind of made sense for both parties to move on. And I really think Blake Martinez would help out the Commanders. I don't know if he would come here just because I don't know if he's starting, and he definitely wants a starting job, but he is very solid and knows the system. Is a guy that like Ron Rivera should want. It's like he always signs the really sucky versions or like the bottom end of the roster guys that used to play for him. But whenever a good player comes around that used to play for him, he doesn't sign him. We'll see. Maybe he ends up signing Blake Martinez. I think that would be a really, really good signing. And yeah, because the linebacker room still is not good at all. Like slight upgrade from David Mayo to Bostic, but then you bring back David Mayo. So the depth's a little bit better, but I mean, almost anything's better than what they had in Jamin Davis, Cole Holcomb, and then Milo Eifler, David Mayo, and DeJohn Harris. So it was looking really bad. It's still looking really bad. And yeah, I mean, 7 days from now, the Commanders will have, finished their first game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And hopefully we're happy. You never know with this team. We'll talk about some early predictions, talk about some, injuries and stuff as well. And, maybe I'll give a score prediction. It's very, very early for that. King Sean, yes, I'm very anxious for this week. I mean, it's week 1. I am happy and excited now, but after this Sunday or starting this Sunday is when usually I'm not feeling too great because of the Commanders. So hopefully they can change that this year and actually win some games, make the playoffs. So I made a video the other day talking about bold predictions, and I was just looking. I knew this stat already, but it was just crazy going through it. That the Commanders have had one quarterback throw for over 30 passing touchdowns in a season, and that was Sonny Jurgensen in 1967, I believe. That is absolutely crazy. That is crazy. And my bold prediction was that Carson Wentz would, break that streak. He would be the, I guess second, Redskin slash Commander, whatever, to throw for 30 plus touchdowns. I think passing touchdowns. I think he can do that. I definitely think he can do that. So let's start off with kind of talking about some injuries, and we'll talk about some things that we need to do to win this game. I'll get into like official key to victories later on this week in a preview video or a preview stream. But injuries, things that we still don't know about. Cole Turner, he's been out with a hamstring injury for a while. He hasn't played since that injury happened. And it's an injury where you got to take your time. You can't put him back very early. And, the preseason will be, the last preseason game to when the first game starts is 2 weeks away. So, he's had some time. He's had a week since the last preseason game, a little bit more than a week. to recover, but it's still a little concerning that he's not back. We'll really get to know once they start practicing. So I believe that might be Monday or Tuesday. We'll see what usually it's Tuesday, but since they haven't had a game yet, maybe they'll start on Monday. And that'll be interesting to see where Cole Turner's at, if he's practicing, if he's limited. Because if he's not practicing, then he's probably not playing. John Bates going to be interesting as well. And Logan Thomas as well. I mean, all those guys have a question mark in terms of their playing. I think most of those guys will play, though. Still, though, is a question. So that, both of those guys, I mean, all three of those guys are guys to monitor this week where they are in term. Like, this is where you got to start keeping track of the injury reports. Is he a DNP, which, that means he didn't practice, or is he a LP, limited participant? That's, we got to get back in the rhythm of those things, looking at the injury reports and seeing where these players are at. So I'm trying to think of other players. You guys can put it in the chat as well that we're going to be monitoring their injuries. William Jackson III, I think he was dealing with a knee issue earlier on, but I think he should be good. All the receivers seem like they'll be good. Gibson, all those guys. Offensive line, Trey Turner's a guy to monitor if he is, if he's playing at all this week because he hasn't played. He's done like individual stuff, but that's another injury to monitor. And I think that's it on the offensive line. Uh, Receivers all good, QBs all good. On the D line, pretty much same thing. I mean, Chase Young is going to be out, but everyone else seems to be good. And then, I really think most of the team is getting healthy, but the tight ends are still, injured. We'll see what happens with them. Trey Turner and probably a couple other minor injuries for sure. But a lot of the injuries that happened, the guys got placed on IR. Keith Ishmael, other guys as well. So we're not in a terrible situation injury wise, and hopefully that continues. Knock on wood. Hopefully, they don't have many injuries this year because last year was terrible. In 2020, Ron Rivera's first year, the injuries weren't actually that bad. So yeah, Kirk was really close. He had 29 touchdowns. I think it was 2016. I had the thing open, but I still can't believe they haven't had. And what's crazy is that the one quarterback that threw for over 30, touchdowns was in 1967 when they barely passed the football. It's just absolutely insane when almost all the teams were just running the football. The rules help them, run the football versus today where there's a lot of advantages for passing the football. So just insane that they haven't had another, 30 plus touchdown passer. And I think Carson Wentz has a shot to do it this year. What's up, Michael? Appreciate you coming through. Yeah, 1960. That's 55 years ago. That's 55 years ago since we've had a 30 plus touchdown quarterback. It's just absolutely insane. So let's go on to. So Jimmy says, and you guys can keep asking questions because this is an official preview. So any questions you guys have about the game or the season, go ahead and ask them. So Jimmy says, so O-line's looking healthy for game one. I mean, for the most part, Wes Schweitzer and Andrew Norrell have been practicing after their injuries. And then you have Trey Turner. Trey Turner, that's the question mark. We don't know if he's going to play. If he doesn't play, then, Wes Schweitzer will be starting at right guard. And then your backup center, though, that's where it's kind of a little bit of a question mark. What's up, Aaron McDaniel, Jacksonville fan in the house, I believe. We'll see. We'll see how the game goes. Hopefully it's a win for the Commanders, but you never know with this team. But yeah, so Trey Turner's a question mark on the offensive line. Tyler Larson's dealing with an injury. He's out for the first 4 games of the season. So obviously he's out for the first 4 games along with Chase Young. So they don't have an official backup center. So that's why I think if Trey Turner's healthy, if he's fully healthy, then I think that, he will start because then Wes Schweitzer can go in at either guard position or center as well. So that's just something to keep in mind. And yeah, so Diego says, I predict Washington scores 25 to 30 points, Jacksonville less than 20. Hey, I'm hoping. So, I forgot the other injury. Thank you, King Sean. Pedro says, King Sean says, Pedro, do you think Cam Curl plays next Sunday? And if you don't think he does, who do you think starts in place of him? So good question. Appreciate the reminder. So I think he will play. I know he has that thumb injury. Don't really know what else besides that. That's a guy that you're really going to have to monitor his, his practice, if he's practicing or not, if he's limited. It's a thumb injury, so there are ways to, limit, kind of play through that. You got to wear a club. A lot of the D linemen do that. I don't know about safeties, so maybe he'll do that. I don't know. If he doesn't play, I think Derek Forrest will be the starting strong safety, and you'll have Bob McCain and Derek Forrest as your starting two safeties. So definitely something to monitor, and I appreciate that. So, hey, yeah, Trayvon Walker, we'll see if he has 2 sacks. I think problem for the Commanders is really going to be, I think we'll be able to score. I don't know about stopping the Jacksonville Jaguars offense because I don't know how good they're going to be, but Commanders defense has been concerning so far in the preseason. It's only the preseason, but still concerning. And linebacker hasn't been improved yet, and cornerback depth. I mean, week 1 we should be fine, but after that, the depth there, who knows? Who knows? Yeah, but hopefully Cam Curl's able to play. If he doesn't play, it'll be what's his name, Derek Forrest. I strongly believe in that because he's the backup strong safety. Jeremy Reeves plays free safety for the most part, and Percy Butler is mostly a free safety as well. Yeah, so those are kind of, let's see. Michael says, "How do you see our linebackers playing this year?" Oh, I don't feel good about it at all. I mean, I feel okay about Jamin Davis and Cole Holcomb. Jamin Davis is a little bit of a question mark, but we've seen some good things from him in the last half of training camp and in his preseason games. He played pretty well, so I feel better about him. Still don't feel great about him. Feel solid about Cole Holcomb. After that, though, sometimes you will have 3 linebacker sets. Do I feel good about Bostic or David Mayo? No. Do I feel good about Milo Eifler? No. If one of those guys gets hurt, the top 2 guys, Jamin Davis or Cole Holcomb, then you have, John Bostic starting or David Mayo. I don't feel good about that at all. So hopefully we don't have any injuries, but it's almost inevitable. It's hard for, these guys to not miss any games. So, yeah, I really think that I strongly believe they should sign another linebacker, whether it's Blake Martinez, Alexander Johnson, AJ Klein. They need to sign someone. So that's just me. Travis says, when will Sam Howell play and will he make an impact? Hopefully he doesn't play this year. But knowing Washington, he might. He's the 3rd-string quarterback, though. If he's healthy, he'll play all year. And if he gets hurt or isn't playing well, I still don't think he'll get benched. But if he's hurt, then it'll be Heineke for sure. So I really don't see Sam Howell playing. But if Wentz struggles this year, like really badly, which I don't think will happen, then he might play. Sam Howell might be the starter next year, or he'll be competing for that spot in camp with a rookie or someone else. So hopefully we don't get to that point though. Hopefully it's Carson Wentz plays well, and hopefully Sam Howell plays amazing as well or develops really well, and you can trade him for maybe a 3rd or 2nd round pick. That's the goal. That's the goal with Sam Howell. But some things the Commanders have to do well to win this game. 3rd down defense. They've got to be able to get off the field on 3rd down. They haven't been able to do that in a very, very long time. Maybe 2020 they were able to do it. I can't remember for sure, but I mean, the defense was good that year. Weren't playing great competition, but they were, solid that year. Last year they're terrible so far. This year they've been really bad. So that's something that is really, really concerning. And if you can't stop people on 3rd down, your defense isn't gonna be good. So that is something they're gonna have to do. Jacksonville, doesn't have a super scary offense. They got 2 good running backs, and we'll see. James Robinson's good. Travis Etienne was a 1st-round pick, so I think he will be good. We don't know yet, but he's solid. And then their O line is tight end isn't great. It's just Evan Ingram. We know who he is. We've seen him twice a year for the last 4 years. Doesn't have great hands. He's athletic, but doesn't have good hands. Fumbles the ball a lot. And then, the receivers are mediocre. Christian Kirk is a average, I would say average number 2 receiver in this league. And sorry that it's lagging, but he's an average number 2 receiver in this league. And he's their number 1. And then Marvin Jones is kind of number 3, and he's their number 2. So their receiving room isn't great. It's defense. I mean, they've got some solid pieces on the D line. They've got Josh Allen. They got Trayvon Walker. Their edge rushers are good. Don't know too much about the interior defensive line, but I mean, they got the number one pick for a reason, guys. So they signed some big. They signed a lot of guys this year in free agency. Brandon Sheriff, but the defense, I don't think their defense is great. Secondary isn't great. Like they lost Miles Jackson. They lost a lot of guys, and they were the number one pick for a reason. So this is a game they 100% should win. Will they win? I don't know, but they 100% should win this game against this team. There's no excuse for them not to win this game. Zay Jones, he's a good rotational receiver. That's really it, though. So that is something they definitely have to do is stop the Jaguars on third down. If they let them convert all day, they're going to score a lot of points. They will, and we'll see if the Commanders are able to keep up with them. Another one, oh yeah, Aluakon, whatever. They paid him big money, so that's another guy that they signed. But still, he doesn't scare me too much. He's a good player, but he doesn't scare me too much. So another one, and this is obvious, but the turnover battle. You have to be able to force some turnovers. I don't think the defense did a good job last year forcing turnovers. They had a couple, they had some interceptions, but they got to force some more fumbles. They didn't do that enough last year. And yeah, you got to force some turnovers, and you always have a better chance of winning when you win the turnover battle. But Ron Rivera, historically, if you look at his winning percentage, when when his teams win the turnover battle, he wins. He has a higher percentage winning than almost every other coach that does win the turnover battle. So that is something they need to do. They didn't do it well last year. Too many turnovers, whether it's Heineke, Antonio Gibson fumbling, like that cannot happen. Antonio Gibson cannot fumble the football. He cannot fumble the football week one or any week until Brian Robinson comes back. Even when Brian Robinson is back, that is something he cannot do. Yeah. So turnover battle, limit the turnovers to maybe one on offense / special teams, and on defense try to force at least one, maybe two turnovers. Trevor Lawrence, he's going to be better than last year. His stats weren't great last year. Played a little bit better than the stats, but still, 12 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. Like you can't play that well and have those type of numbers. So that is something they have to take advantage of. Week one, like he's going to be a totally different quarterback. Week one, like he'll be much better, I believe, in week 16 than he is in week one. So that's an advantage of playing in week one. Also, an advantage is they have a new head coach, even though he's a veteran head coach. His players and him it's a new process for them. They're playing together, they're being coached by them, by new coaches, and it's a little bit of an adjustment period. It does help that they do have a veteran head coach, but still, I love playing teams with new head coaches in the first few weeks of the season. So that is something that I think will be an advantage for the Washington Commanders. Let's see. Gus Bus says if Luaquan doesn't scare you, then Holcomb should downright make you giggle. I mean, I think some people overhate Holcomb. I think Holcomb's a very solid linebacker, especially as an outside linebacker. As a middle linebacker, not so much. But I think in these two linebacker sets, he's going to be playing outside a lot of the times anyways. So let's see. Gus Bus says Gibson will play well in the first 4 games. I'll be one of the few bright spots. Hey, I hope he plays well. I hope he plays well until Brian Robinson comes back and see how these two compare when Robinson comes back. I'm hoping Robinson. I think it was a smart decision to have him on the NFI list, have him out for the first 4 weeks, because coming back in 2 weeks from a injury like that is it's insane. Even if it's even if they didn't get any ligaments or anything, it's still hard to come back in 2 weeks. But 6 weeks, much more feasible, and hopefully he's back within one of those first couple weeks of the season. Maybe you can get back Chase Young, Tyler Larson, and Brian Robinson week 5, week 6. So that would be great. But we'll see. Billy says our secondary, in my opinion, is legit. I like our starting secondary. I do like our starting secondary, but after you get from your starting guys, the depth is very suspect. I mean, corners. I mean, they signed some new guys. I think Tariq Castro Fields, Rashad Wildgoose, and then you got Christian Holmes. All those guys are second year or rookie 7th or 6th round picks. I don't feel comfortable about that. I don't feel comfortable about starting those guys if someone gets hurt. I think they should sign a veteran. I don't think they will, but I've been saying this for a while. I think they need to sign another guy like Christian Harris or someone else, Joe Hayden. You need some more depth. And, if one of those guys gets hurt, the top guys, then, you might have to switch. If it's not Benjamin St-Juste, who is pretty injury prone, you're going to have to move Benjamin St-Juste to the outside and one of those guys into the slot. And then you also, the safety depth, I like Cam Curl. I love Bob McCain, or not, sorry. I love Cam Curl. I like, Bob McCain's solid. Then after that, like, I like the talent in the secondary. I like Percy Butler. I like what he can do, what he can become. And same thing with Derek Forrest. But those guys aren't ready to play a ton of snaps in there, right now. Maybe Derek Forrest is, but and Jeremy Reeves, like, it's a good story, and he's a good player to have in the locker room. But you don't want him playing that many snaps. Like, he's a small guy in coverage. It's pretty easy to pick on him. He's good in the run game, but that's just, yeah, I don't feel good about the secondary depth at all. I don't feel good, honestly. There's not a position on this team, on this defense, that I feel good about the depth. The interior defensive line, you got, you got Allen, Payne, and then after that, Mathis. But Mathis doesn't even really count as depth that much because first, you don't know how good he's going to be. He's a rookie. But second off, he's going to be playing 60+% of the snaps. So he's almost like a starter. He's going to be playing a lot of the snaps because these interior guys don't play all snaps. So Allen and Payne are going to be sharing some of their snaps with Mathis. So besides that, you have Daniel Wise and maybe a little bit of Efe Obada and some of these other guys, James Smith Williams, and then the depth on the edge position doesn't look good. It doesn't. Linebackers, I don't even have to say a word. It's atrocious. The depth there. Cornerback, talked about it. Safety, talked about it. So they've had a lot of time to address this. They haven't. So if they stay healthy, they'll be fine. But if not, I think I've said it for a while, and I think a lot of fans have said it on a while as well. So that is something to remember, and hopefully they don't get hurt this year. So that is definitely something to monitor. Another key to victory. Talk about turnovers. Another one, special teams play. What's up, Roger Smith? Appreciate you coming through. What's up, James? You got to, just win the special teams battle. It's another kind of cliche one, but you can't miss any kicks, Joey Sly. You can't make any stupid turnovers on special teams, and maybe get a one or two big returns or a couple really nice coverage plays in terms of how many yards you allow. That's just something, it doesn't help you a ton, but if you can play a clean game on special teams, no turnovers, solid returning, and, make all your kicks, that'll really, really help you out. I mean, just think about it. You miss a couple kicks, that's 6 games, and, a lot of games are decided by 3, 6 points. So you make your field goals, you're in a really good spot. Fred says, Pedro, you have a reason they would bring back Bostic? Well, they didn't like the linebacker room, and, Bostic knew the system. I just don't know why they didn't do it earlier. And some people say, well, he was on a team. He was on the team for like 10 days. So that's really it. Billy says, been a fan since 82. Deep down, they'll always be the Skins. I know for a lot of people, that is, a lot of people feel that way. I mean, I'm younger, and I kind of have to, I talk about the team all the time, so it's kind of Commanders is in my mind, but I feel you guys, you love the name, love the uniforms and everything. It is what it is. So, yeah, I mean, Jack Del Rio has to step up. I mean, he has been very, very, like, he hasn't impressed at all. His first year here, he did. He did. He turned this defense around, even though it was against, not great opponents. He did. Second year, atrocious so far in the preseason. Can't really take too much, you can't really buy into too much just because it's a preseason, but didn't look good as well. So this year is a really big year for him. I think the same thing for Scott Turner, even though he got an extension. I think this is a big year for him as well. I think he got a pass. I gave him a pass. I give him a pass for what he had to work with his first couple years here. Not even in terms of the quarterbacks, that's the main thing, but also all the injuries on the skill positions and the lack of talent on the skill positions. So this is his first year with a good offense or good weapons, hopefully a better quarterback. So let's see what he can do with that, and let's see how he schemes things up for some of these guys. He's got a lot of weapons. You got Jahan, you got Curtis, hopefully healthy, Terry McLaurin, you got Gibson, Brian Robinson, J.D. McKissick, Logan Thomas, some other guys like Cole Turner, John Bates. Like, you got some good players. Let's put it all together, see what he can do with this team. I'm excited. Before I felt better about the defense than the offense, but that's because after the draft I was thinking they were going to address the depth concerns. Now, with kind of them getting healthier a little bit on offense, with Logan Thomas looking like he's going to be back by week 1, or if not week 1, week 2, week 3, and mostly healthy on offense, I feel more comfortable about the offense than I do the defense, because they've got depth on the defense. We got 93 people in here at 22 likes, so let's try to get those likes up, and also subscribe if you guys are new. Gonna have a ton of content this week on the Commanders, and get really, really excited for this week 1. But that is just something that they have to work on for sure. So let's see. Samantha says Jack Del Rio, in my opinion, is the main problem with the defense. Yeah, we talked about it. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Again, big year for him and big year for Scott Turner as well. Both of those guys have to step up. I mean, big year for everyone. Big year for everyone. I mean, they have to make the playoffs. They have to make the playoffs this year. There's no excuse for them not to make the playoffs this year. This is their 3rd year under Ron Rivera. They have to. They have to. They won 7 games in their, both of their first years, in both the years here, this regime has. So they've got to be better. They've got to be better this year. They have to make the playoffs. So if they don't make the playoffs, it's a massive, massive failure. And let's see. Yeah, but they just have to. There's no reason. And if they win 7 games again, man, is that a big, big failure, because not only are you not making the playoffs, you're not putting yourself in a position to get a good QB. You're going to be picking 14th, 15th, and none of the top QBs are going to be there. There's some good QBs in this draft: CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, that are probably going to be franchise QBs. So if you don't make the playoffs, you better suck. You better win 2, 3, 4 games and get a top 5 pick. So let's see. You going to any game this season? I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I want to. I want to go to a game. I wasn't. I mean, I'm in Blacksburg right now. I'm at home, but first year of college, and I beat Tech, so we'll see. Maybe during Thanksgiving break or winter break, depends on how the season's going. I'll try to hit a game this year. Let's see. Who should be on the field and who should be in the booth? I mean, players in the field and booth. I mean, it would be nice if Cooley was in the booth. I love listening to Cooley, but he's not doing that stuff anymore. Gus Bus says, mark my words, if we make the playoffs, Rivera will try to become team president. Scott Turner will be named head coach. Jason Wright can go. Hey, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Rivera walked away in a few years, but I don't know about this year. Let's see, trying to see any other questions. I'm optimistic we're winning the game. All we have to do is put up some points on the board. So give me your guys' record predictions for the Commanders this year. And honestly, Logan Paul's going to be good as well. We'll do some stat predictions for players as well, and we'll get into a real preview next week. So my record prediction, I was saying 10 earlier, but now with my I'm really concerned about the depth on the defense. We know injuries happen. I'm going 9 wins. I'm going 9 wins on the season. If they make the playoffs, that's a success. If they don't, then that's a big failure. So I'm going 9-8. I could see 10-7. I could see 10 wins for sure. But we'll see. So a lot of people saying let's go through. Justin says 9-8. Kieran says 10-7. 12 for Samantha. DMV base says 10. Michael, hey, that's Roanoke. Yeah, Roanoke's pretty close. 9-8. Billy says 10. Thomas says 4 wins at best. Yeah. I mean, I think if you're gonna go to a game, the first few games are good because of the weather. Yeah, London Fletcher's in the booth, and then Bram Weinstein and Julie Donaldson. So let's get into some stat predictions. So Carson Wentz, we'll go into. I'll go with him. Since I did the bold prediction, I'll go 30 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, because he's only thrown double-digit touchdown or interceptions in a season twice. So I'll go 30 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. I feel good about Wentz's. I mean, still a little bit concerned. Still a little bit concerned. So we'll go, and that's a good thing, Gus. Over under 26.5 touchdowns for Carson Wentz. You guys can put that in the chat along with your prediction. I'm going over on that. I don't have the over unders on here, but I'll just make them myself. So a lot of people, let's see. Yeah, Gus. I know Gus isn't optimistic about this season, but um, yeah, he's got us at 7-10. If that happens, yeah, not that's like the worst case scenario. 7-10. Like 7-10 worst case scenario just because of where they're drafting, and they won't be in position to get anyone. So everyone's saying over pretty much. What's up, Juan Gotti? My guy will be on his channel, I believe, on Tuesday. So make sure you guys pull up to that. Juan's got them at 11-6. Michael 30 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. So let's go Terry right now. Over under 1,112 yards. What's up, Armin Brown? Appreciate you coming through. So I'll go over. I think Terry's going to get about 1,200 receiving yards this year or more. I think he's going to have a big year if he's able to stay healthy. I think he's going to have a big year for sure, just because he's got a better quarterback. He's also he's got other receivers around him that will take some attention. Like, you can't put all the attention on Terry this year because you got Jahan and you got Curtis on the other side, and other guys as well. So, or Curtis in the slot, whatever. So I think a lot of people are going over for Terry McLaurin as well. I'm hoping he does. Let's see. Gus Bus says, everyone think we're gonna have a better record because we're not playing against the killer QBs. Problem is that we didn't improve enough while the weaker teams around us did. I mean, it's not even that we're not playing the better, or we're not playing the killer QBs. Like, we literally had the hardest record last year hardest schedule last year in the NFL, and we have the easiest, or one of the easiest this. So you combine that with the quarterback upgrade, I think will win more games. The question is, how many more games will they win? So everyone pretty much has them over on or Terry, but a couple people have them under just because of all the other weapons. So let's go Jahan Dotson. We'll go over under 8-10. I think a lot of people are going to go over, but I just want to remember, like, over 8-10 for a rookie, even a first-round rookie, is really, really good. It's really hard to do that in the NFL, really hard to get over 800-plus yards as a rookie. I mean, Terry did it, but not a lot of rookies do. So, that would be a really, really good year from. I got him slightly over that. I got him like 830, 825 with like 6 touchdowns. But we'll see. G-Man says under. Gus Bus says Jacksonville and Detroit will beat us because they improved significantly, even though they seem to be weaker at the end of last year. I mean, they improved. They improved, but they were both the number 1 and number 2 overall pick for a reason. So even though they improved significantly, that doesn't mean that they're better than the Commanders. I think for sure they'll win 1 game. I probably have them winning 2, but if I saw them losing 1, it would be that Detroit Lions game, because they played a lot of teams close last year. Gus Bus says, who has a better rookie season, Olave or Dotson? That's a tough one. I like Dotson more than him. I was not a big Olave fan in this draft process. I did not want them to draft him at 11 when they were on the board. I'm happy they didn't. I'd much rather have Dotson, Robinson, Cole Turner, and Sam Howell versus Olave and a 6th-round pick. So that's me. That's me. But I know other people have a different opinion. So we'll see what happens. I think Olave is gonna have a big year, though. I think Olave is gonna have a big year. He's in a good, he has a solid QB, and Jameis Winston, not amazing, but solid. And he's got some weapons there in Kamara and other Michael Thomas possibly to take some attention off of him. So I mean, it's hard. It's going to be hard to predict. I don't want to do Gibson and Robinson because I don't know when Gibson's when Robinson's coming back. I really don't. So it's really tough to figure that out. But hopefully, I think combined would be a good one. I think combined they'll get 1,600 plus yards. I think they'll get a ton of yards on the ground this year. I think Robinson will be very, very efficient when he plays. Hopefully, when he plays. Gus Bus, no, I'm at home right now, but going back tomorrow actually. But yeah, this would be a very big dorm. Let's see. Yeah, let's hope. I think he'll be back. I think the G-Man. I think he'll be back. Relatively early in the first couple weeks from when the season starts. I think he'll be back. Let's see. Got to delete that. There we go. No, Diego, I'm not going to be at the game. I'm not going to be at the first game. If I'm at a game, it'll be sometime in November or December or January. But hopefully I'm at a game. But I'm also a guy that likes to watch at home. You can go to the bathroom whenever you want. Watch all the replay angles. All great snacks. But Black King, hey, I would take that bet that they don't win over 7 games. But hey, we'll see. We'll see. So other stat predictions. Let's go to defense. Montez Sweat. We'll go. I don't know what his over under is. I'm pretty sure it's probably like 8 or 7. I would 100% take the over on that. But just to be a little bit more fair, make it a little harder. Over under 10.5 sacks for Montez Sweat. I'm going over. I think Sweat's gonna have a big year. I think Sweat's gonna have a big year with Chase Young out for the first 4 games minimum, maybe a little bit more. I'm going over for Montez Sweat. I think this will be his first double-digit season. So hopefully it happens. We'll see. We'll see though. I think he'll have a big year. So a lot, DMV base says over. Diego says 10 sacks for Sweat. So he's a guy to monitor. Allen will go. Allen over under 8.5. I'll go under on that. I think Allen will have like 7 or 8. I think I'll have a really good year. Just not get to the same amount of sacks he got last year, but still have a very, very solid year for the Commanders. I think 8 sacks for an interior guy is really, really good, and I think he'll get around that and maybe get a couple more forced fumbles than he did last year. And yeah, so we'll see what happens there. I mean, yeah, Chase Young in there does help his numbers, but sometimes when you have such good pass rushers that some of these guys, get to you or get to the quarterback before you do. So, but you're right. For the most part, it does help to have another guy out there. But I think Montez Sweat will have a big year for sure. Yeah, the thing is, Sweat gets there. He just gets there a little bit too late sometimes. Like he gets good pressure on almost every rep. He just doesn't get there quick enough sometimes. Let's see. So we got a bet in the chat, $50 for the Commanders win 7 or more games. Black King, what team are you a fan of? Just curious there. Maybe Cowboys fan. Let's see. So I'm trying to think of other players we can do predictions on. Any other players you guys think of? Just put that in the chat. Deron Payne. I think Payne's gonna have a big year. Like over under 5 sacks from him. I'll put him over, even though he hasn't gotten over that in his career. He seems like a guy that will really, really perform well in a contract year. Yeah, Fred Dickens, I agree with you. I think Payne's a guy that's definitely, definitely motivated about the money. I think he's gonna have a huge year. I think he's gonna have 6+ sacks. That was one of my bold predictions, and it doesn't seem necessarily bold, but like first 4 years of his career, he hasn't had that. So then he's gonna get paid this off season, and you get a 3rd-round comp pick, or you wait or you franchise tag him, get another year of control for him, and then he leaves a little bit later. Gus Best says, "How do you think Curl's injury will affect his start to the season?" Well, we'll see if he's ready to play week 1. The first couple weeks might be a little bit. He's probably not going to be getting any interceptions. I don't know if he'll play with a club or anything because I heard it's a thumb injury. So he might be a little bit. He might just be knocking things down with the other hand, not being able to hold on to things, but. Yeah, if he's out though, that'll definitely affect them because you got Derek Forrest in there. Again, I just don't feel good about the depth. I do not feel good about the depth at all. And they've got a week to fill any of these needs. I don't think they will though. I don't think they will. But Blake Martinez, I talked about this early in the stream, so some people might not have been here. Blake Martinez is a guy that I definitely think they should look for. They should sign. He's going to be not that expensive. He played for Ron before, and he's probably the best linebacker on the market besides maybe Alexander Johnson. Gus Bus, I will be at the first game. Super, super hype about that. And then the next day is Commanders at 1 o'clock. So that'll be tough. That'll be tough. But yeah, hopefully they win. But it's gonna be a tough game for VT after losing ODU week 1. But yeah, I think going back to Blake Martinez, don't think they'll do it, and I don't know if Martinez will want to come back or sign with the Commander just because of how he wants probably a starting job. He probably wants to be a starter, and I don't know if he's going to get a starting job here unless they go to more 3 linebacker sets. So that is just something that is unfortunate. They didn't go after Bradbury either because of some scheme fits, because he's more of an outside guy. They already got 2 outside guys. Still though, seems like a lot of the good Carolina players Ron doesn't seem to sign. A lot of the not so great ones he does. So that I get the fans' frustration. Like for the most part, I really don't care if they're a good player, then sign them, or if they're yeah, if they can play, sign them. But for a lot of these players, it's just like when the good ones are available, they don't sign them. Gus Bus says, I don't think Rivera's going after Blake because he doesn't want to look disloyal to Mayo and Bostic, which is sad. Hey, I mean, maybe that's true, but like, I don't care about David Mayo, man. Just release him. He's used to it. He was released. He didn't make the roster last year. He didn't. He made the initial roster this year and then got released. So release him. Put him on the practice squad. If an injury comes up, sign him back to the team. Like it's as easy as that. I agree with you. I don't think he'll do that, but it's something that should be done for sure. And it's unfortunate that that they don't do it. This team, this front office, not like one of my biggest things with them. They're just not aggressive. Like you look at the Eagles, we'll see if it works out. But like because of how aggressive, like they were supposed to be a terrible team last year, like not like a 5, 6, 7 win team last year. They went to the playoffs. It was a yes, it was a cupcake schedule, but still. Let's see, Jairus, hey, send me a text back real quick. We'll try to get something working, and I'm sure we'll talk. I'm going on lawn stream, and I'm pretty sure you're going to be there, so we can talk there as well. So let me know, right? Just send me a text right now. We'll try to get something going. But yeah, this team isn't aggressive. You look at the Eagles, very aggressive. They go after Bradbury, AJ Brown. They make a bunch of trades, and for the most part, obviously there's some bad moves in there that they've made, like they drafted Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson, but they've made some really good moves and they've been aggressive, and that's what I like. They don't. The thing with the Commanders also that I hate, and I've really noticed it this offseason. This is the third offseason for the Commanders under Ron Rivera, is almost the same people almost the same people that are the 1 to 53 are different. But the 53 to 90 are a lot of those guys are repeat players every camp in terms of, coming back, like Jeremy Reeves, Jonathan Williams, guys like that, Danny Johnson, all these guys just come back and they don't make the roster. They make the roster. Nothing, Jeremy Reeves some okay things, but for the most part, they all come back. Nothing happens. There's no. A lot of the guys are not upside guys, but they just keep bringing them back because they know the system. But it's like, bring some other guys in. Like you look at the Eagles, and I don't want to keep mentioning them because they're a division rival, but like they recently, they picked up Trey Sermon, 3rd-round pick from a year ago. It's a low risk low risk, high reward. So that's something that like they just haven't done. Let's see, Dorito Crust, what's up? John Hurley. I think that's who we're talking about. Dotson is a real deal. I think he will be. I think he will be this year. I'm thinking my predictions like 820 yards, maybe like 6 touchdowns. I think he's going to be really good. Maybe he won't be, like a superstar, but I think he'll be a really, really solid player for a long time for them. And I think he'll be their number 2 receiver this year. Right after the draft, kind of thinking that it would be Curtis, but I think with Curtis being out a lot of training camp, I think it'll be Dotson as the number 2 option. I think he'll be good, and I also feel really good about Brian Robinson whenever he comes back. So appreciate you coming through. What's up, Door Gunner? The G-Man says the Eagles know what they're doing. Yeah, they do, and we'll see how they do this year. I mean, it's all going to fall on Jalen Hurts, but like they got some good draft picks as well. If that doesn't work out, they've got a couple first-round picks next year as well. To if Jalen Hurts doesn't do well, they can trade up for a top QB. Montana says, Pedro, I think Dotson's not going to be that good. Hey, we'll see. We'll see. I think just from what we've been hearing this off season from the players, coaches, media, and what I've seen as well when I was there, I think he's going to be good. Like when I was there, he was the number one target. I think Terry is going to be the number one target for them. But like when I was there, Dotson was getting almost all the targets. So this team needs more A players. It's simple as that. Yeah, I agree. Dorito Crust says I haven't been watching much. He's going to be more likely than not on the outside, and then Curtis in the slot. But they all are pretty versatile. Terry can play in the slot sometimes. Same thing with Curtis. I mean, Curtis will be playing the slot, but he can also play outside. But yeah, for the most part, I think Jahan and Terry will be on the outside with Curtis in the slot, but they will rotate as well. Yeah, and Jay says I watched his whole career at PSU. He's a real deal. Yeah, I mean he might not be super elite at a lot of things, but he's good at a lot of things. He's really good in terms of contested catches. His change of speed in his routes, you can see it sometimes where it fools cornerbacks a lot of the times. And he's got good agility. He's smooth. Just needs to work on in terms of he's not that great against pressed man, but that's something to work on. And hopefully he worked on it his first few weeks or his first few months as a pro. And that's a guy that if I get another jersey, it'll be Jonathan Allen and Jahan. I got a lot of jersey right now, but those two are my next ones. I just don't want to get a jersey super or before a guy even plays and then he just doesn't turn out to be good. But I think Jahan's a very high floor guy. Like I think he'll be good for sure. Yeah, I like Tariq. G-Man says Tariq Castro Fields does have some potential. He does, but I just that's the thing. He has got potential, but they need someone that can play well for them in terms of depth. They just don't have depth at the cornerback position right now, and they don't have depth at any position on the defense. So if one of these guys gets hurt, cornerbacks get hurt, then you're gonna have a freaking first year or second year player, sixth or seventh round pick. So yeah, that's something that is very concerning. Do you think Wentz going to play good? And if he puts up some stats from last year, do we keep him? I think if he puts up what he did last year, keep him. We haven't had a guy like that in a long time, and I think he'll play well for them. I think he will. Can't wait to get to the game Sunday. Hey, I mean, I won't be there, but I'm excited to watch. I mean, I don't even know. I'm excited, but also nervous at the same time, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But again, I think the first few games of the season are the best games to go to, not only because you still got that hope, but also it's good weather. It's good weather. So that is something that, yeah, I think is a good game to go to, and it's one of their easier opponents. So I think they should win that game. If they don't, we're gonna be. It's not gonna be a good week until the Lions game. If they lose the Lions game, it's and the season isn't over, but it's going to be over in a lot of people's minds, and I'll be very disappointed. So they've got to really win two, but if they don't win one, people are going to be so done with this team. I mean, people already are. We know a lot of people are, but if they're not able to win a single game against the number one and number two overall picks, or the teams that have the number one and number two overall picks, a lot of people are going to be just, giving up on the season. They're going to be, giving up on the season. Dorgunna says, flying up for the Jackson, Minnesota, and Dallas games this season. Hey, those are some good games to watch. I mean, you got the Jacksonville first game of the season, good weather. Then you got Minnesota. I think that's the blackout game against Kirk Cousins. And then Dallas, week 18. Hopefully a meaningful game. Hopefully a game that, they're either already in the playoffs or a game that gets them in the playoffs. I think those are great selections, especially the first game. It's just good to go to the home opener. So I think if you guys got any more questions, go ahead and ask them in the chat. But if not, we're going to start to wrap it up. Appreciate you guys coming through and give me some videos you guys want to see me do this year in terms of like during the week before a game. I'm always going to have injury updates, any big injury videos. I'll try to have a preview video, and we'll have some random videos throughout the week as well, just talking about just things in general. So, yeah, appreciate you guys coming through. Hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new. And yeah, video suggestions, leave those in the chat. And appreciate you guys for coming through. Until next time, I think I will be live sometime this week, whether it's Thursday, Friday, won't be Saturday. Won't be Saturday. Gus Bus, I'm able to watch on my computer and I can connect it HDMI for my roommate bought his computer, so I can just watch it on there. Montana, I upload pretty much every day at like 3, 4 p.m. So make sure to tune in there. Thanks for watching, guys, and peace.